think that's spelled right. Not exactly sure. But let's take a look. And I want to know, now that we did get a response from the LLM, that the shark is extinct. It made a hard determination on that. But I wanted to speculate under which conditions could the Carcharodon megalodon still exist. Forgive my punctuation error there. Provide the conditions for which region the meg could thrive and which nautical locations the shark would most likely be found. Include one piece of circumstantial evidence that seems to point to the shark's continued existence. See what we come up with. Should be an interesting one. All right, so this I was not aware of. I've always heard it called the Carcharodon megalodon. Huh. It's older, extinct. Well, there's a good depiction of the size of the meg. Huh, this is interesting, is it not? What else are they showing? A Totus megalodon? I'd have to take a look at that for a second. In a second. Yeah, we know it's considered extinct. What would need to be true for the megalodon to survive a stable deep ocean refuge? Most common speculative scenario is that a remnant populations retreated deep into the offshore ecosystems, largely inaccessible to humans. Yeah, and as we've discussed, what does it feed upon? Extremely deep pelagic trenches in the abyssal zones, yeah, open water, minimal human traffic, stable temperatures, large prey migrations across the region, vast territory to support a low population density. You know, the biggest challenge is food. Yeah, a mature megalodon may have reached 50 to 60 feet and required enormous caloric intake. To survive undetected, the species would likely need slow metabolism compared to great whites, sparse but sufficient populations, deep water hunting adaptations. Look at this darker coloration for deep water camouflage. Hey, doesn't that sound like the black demon shark? Larger eyes adapted for low light. Yeah, another trait it would share with the demon shark. Greater tolerance for cold pressure zones, possible bioluminescent adaptations, highly speculative. Yeah, if you read the Meg books by Steve Alten, he dives into this. It's really, really cool. It may also surface only rarely, similar to the elusive deepwater sharks like the goblin shark, megamouth shark, and the Greenland shark. Okay, so here again, these three sharks, goblin shark's a smaller one. Yeah, that's a fun-looking guy, isn't it? He's pretty small. He's like the size of someone's leg, or maybe a little larger of a tall person's leg. But he's still pretty cool. The megamouth shark, yeah, that's a strange-looking animal. But we do have video of this very rare video of the megamouth shark swimming in the open waters, and it did come to the surface. And the Greenland shark we spoke about in the last episode, very large shark, but one that speculated by the LLM could have been mistaken for the megalodon, but certainly not to the size at which we are used to hearing megs would reach. If such a creature existed, scientists and cryptozoologists enthusiasts usually point toward remote deepwater areas with continental shelf drop-offs like the Mariana Trench, whale migration routes, sparse sonar coverage, limited commercial fishing. Yep, here we go, the Mariana Trench in the Western Pacific. Sorry, it's like 4 in the morning here. Deepest known oceanic trench, enormous unexplored territory, adjacent to rich Pacific ecosystems. So if it did manage to surface, it would have enough food to feed on, one would presume. The abyssal depths themselves lack sufficient large prey, but the megalodon would more likely patrol upper pelagic zones nearby than live at maximum depth. Okay, so what they're saying is they wouldn't be down here. They might be somewhere in here, as where they would be living and thriving, somewhere in the upper abyssal zones. Um, so they would also need to find. They would have to follow humpback whale migration patterns. So that they're speculating here, I think, that the Meg would come up to feed, but then perhaps retreat down. Oh, there's a lot more here. Okay, let's go back up. Offshore, South Africa, Cape of Good Hope, the region has massive sealing whale populations, cold and warm current convergence, frequent large shark sightings, historical association with giant shark reports. Okay, that's a good. It's a good region to maybe if you're gonna go out and hope to spot your Meg, the Cape of Good Hope. Yeah, I trust me as one who's watched Shark Week many times. I'm very familiar with the Cape of Good Hope in places like False Bay. Um, yeah, so they're talking about the currents and how the current, some of the currents could shield the shark. Uh, do we have a picture of a Meg? No, it's a juvenile great white, of course. Still a cool animal. Yeah. Okay. So we have some answers here about how it could exist. South Pacific near New Zealand, the Karamatic Trench, remote southern ocean corridors, sparse human coverage, large marine mammals, deep volcanic trench systems. Okay, so they're giving us quite a lot in terms of how or why or where this might exist. If it survives, sightings would probably happen at dawn, dusk, near continental shelf edges, during whale migrations, around deep water submarine canyons, far offshore rather than beaches. So if you're looking, go to the offshore South Africa, deep Pacific tuna routes, southern Atlantic whale corridors, remote areas of the Aleutians. Surviving population would likely avoid shallow coastal waters because noise pollution, heavy traffic, shipping, fishing pressure, sonar. Circumstantial evidence often cited. One of the most famous modern claims involved unexplained bite marks found on whales or large sharks. A commonly discussed example involves photographs of massive circular bite wounds on whale carcasses, damage appearing larger than known great white bite radii. Cryptozoologist proponents sometimes point to unusually large predation scars documented in the Pacific and Southern Oceans, suggestive of an unknown shark. All right, here, can we get a photo of some of these bite radiuses? Let's just try it simple. Okay. Did it give us one, or is it just... All right, but they're not really showing us one of the bites. Could it be classified? What do they not want us to know? Okay. We're talking about here. Kind of hard to determine because we know great whites, like whale carcasses, are a hot spot for whale shark feeding. Okay. Lots here. Listen, we're in the same spot where we always are. I'm never trying to simply um, prove or disprove. I just want to ask the questions. That's the fun part, right? Giant shark, possibly a megalodon, feasted on a whale 15 million years, on this whale 15 million years ago. All right, so there's a bunch of different links. I'll tell you what, I'll link to these in the show notes. But for now, still a little bit more to do on the Meg, I think. But until then, don't go swimming off into those waters alone.